Stand by, Godfrey, though, because we are continuing our conversation in just 1 minute with big news from J.K. Rowling. And J.K. Rowling has revealed that she has turned down the opportunity for a damehood as her hero status continues for taking on trans extremists. So this revelation emerged because Lee Hood has started a petition, and petition's very popular at the moment, of course, and this petition was to make J.K. Rowling a dame. And in her very transparent fashion, J.K. replied, "I really, truly appreciate the sentiment. But in fact, I've already turned down both a damehood and a peerage. This is for entirely personal reasons. I've never wanted a title. Thank you, though." And Godfrey Bloom, given she has put so much on the line in order to stand up for women's rights and becoming the face of TERFs internationally. And by the way, TERFs are a term that the left like to throw out as some sort of insult, trans exclusionary radical feminist, but I actually view it as a great compliment. I love it that people say that I'm a TERF. I embrace it. So when I call J.K. Rowling a TERF, trust me, I mean it with genuine compliments. But I think, what a wonderful woman that she's one of these people who actually is just doing this because it's what she believes, and she's not looking for a damehood, and she's also turned down a peerage.
I entirely agree. I've got a lot of time for her because my friends, a lot of my friends whose opinion I trust, say that she brought a lot of children to reading. She brought a lot of children to reading it. Now, you might be amazed how few youngsters read these days. And I've got lots of friends who are youngsters, particularly, well, now they're getting into their early 30s. I'm an old geezer now, but you go into their houses, there's no books on shelves at all. So if she's done one thing and one thing only, she's brought reading back, the pleasure of reading a book back to children. And for that, she should be warmly applauded. She may also have, is it possible that she has another view, which isn't quite so overt, as it were, that she doesn't want to be associated with the sort of cretinous arseholes who now get honours? Do you suppose that could have anything to do with it?
Indeed. Indeed. So true.
I mean, does she want to be linked with Emma Thompson? I mean... Dear, oh dear. Wonderful actress, Emma Thompson, absolutely.
I know.
What a big brain.
But Godfrey, why do they never learn? Why do they never learn? Just keep your mouth shut. We do not want to hear from actors, no matter how brilliant, or pop singers, no matter how much we love their tunes. And the American election shows that more than ever, where a whole load of celebrities have not just lost their reputation and lost the business of half of the country, but actually are humiliated, like Oprah Winfrey claiming this will be the last time you ever vote. I just feel like Democrats never learn, because do you remember in 2016, Hillary Clinton pulled out all of the celebrities too. So actually, I think with celebrities now, we don't just want them making banal political statements. J.K. Rowling, I think, is a real exception to that, because what she has done is put her entire career on the line. She didn't need to do any of this, but it was something she so passionately held.
I entirely agree. Of course, the funny thing with celebrities and actors and actresses in particular, which always makes me smile, they became famous and get paid vast amounts of money because they actually have to read and learn what other people have written for them. So your average, there are exceptions. The two I happen to know from personal experience are Edward Fox, for example, and Michael Caine, who actually have some original thought in their own head. But most of them just remember the lines they're supposed to remember. And then, of course, you can't trust anything they say, because if they try and write their own material, that's when you get these idiots. What's the guy in Star Trek? What's his bloody name? The bald guy. I can't remember his name anyway. You get all these sort of celebrities.
Stewart.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a complete prat, and I love, Star Trek's great, isn't it? But don't lecture me, please, old son.
Please.
Didn't he grab his knighthood? Emma Thompson grabbed her damehood. And they're more famous for slagging this country off than they are. I mean, they can't stop slagging the country, and then they pop up and grab whatever they can get.
Well, yeah, remember
It's
Dame Emma Thompson.
fascinating.
Dame Emma Thompson was the woman who returned to an Extinction Rebellion protest on a first-class flight where she was spotted scoffing beef carpaccio. But look, I want to move on to JK's campaigning today because she actually posted an article that said, how did transgender children in the US become so politicized? And JK replied saying, minors sterilized, healthy breasts cut off, teenaged girls, a total failure to address kids' mental health problems, and a major study suppressed because it didn't show what an ideologue doctor wanted it to. You're only upset because baddies brainwashed you. Now, this prompted India Willoughby, the trans newsreader, to reply saying, J.K. Rowling's tweets are disgusting and increasingly demented, but unless you're on Twitter, that's the bulk of the British public, you would have no idea what she's like. Still Mary Poppins. Because Brit media don't report it unless, of course, it's someone reacting to her provocation. Then it becomes women's rights champion JKR was innocently wandering along Twitter Boulevard with her parasol last night when she was viciously pounced on by a gang of TRAs for no reason whatsoever. And JK replied, and yet again, she completely owned her, saying, calm down, India. For God's sake, you're acting as if I've jabbed you in the lady balls with my parasol. And that's the problem, isn't it, with taking on J.K. Rowling? She is so good with her words for very obvious reasons, Godfrey.
Yeah, well, she does words for a living. And she is, of course, incredibly wealthy. That is extremely helpful because really it means she doesn't give a shit.
Yes.
She just doesn't care. And of course, I
Assuming
love people
if
like
you
that.
like,
Well, I would,
exactly.
wouldn't I? I would like people like that, wouldn't I?
Then there was also today, I don't know if you've seen it, but Pink News, which is this very hard left website which focuses on LGBT coverage. And the owner, who's a guy called Benjamin Cohen, and his husband have been exposed by a BBC investigation for a whole load of bad behavior. And J.K. Rowling posted about this because, of course, Pink News has gone after her constantly. Pink News has come after me, actually, constantly as well. But J.K. Rowling posted, wasn't it Franklin Roosevelt who asked to be judged on the enemies he'd made? And it is interesting, isn't it, Godfrey? Because more and more and more, I do wonder if the age of woke is over because we are seeing these cretinous creatures who run organizations like Pink News exposed for the hypocrites that we always knew they were.
I'm a libertarian, actually. I'm a long-term member of the Mises Institute in America, and I'm a libertarian. I used to lecture on libertarianism at some of the best universities, and I've written a book on it too. So I'm a libertarian. So I believe that whatever you do in the privacy of your own home, and that includes anything, it might include smoking pot, doing whatever you want to do in a free society is nobody's business but your own. I don't know quite why people would actually try and mount a political platform. I mean, I happen to like, and we're all different, aren't we? I like blondes with big tits, but it doesn't mean to say I'm going to make a political statement about it, does it? We're all different. We all like something different. It's all nonsense, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more. I'm a libertarian as well. What my point is about these guys, I don't give a damn what they do in their own bedroom. But the fact is, they've run a website which for years and years and years has judged people like J.K. Rowling. So I guess they're getting a piece of their own medicine, would be my point.
I think you're absolutely right. But, you know, I think we've gone. I used to like. I'm a baby boomer, you know. We've although the laws have changed and the things have changed from a legislative perspective, but generally speaking, if it wasn't hurting you in the old days, you left it alone. You didn't bother. If it wasn't coming up Lime Grove, you left it alone because it's nobody's business. Whether I smoke, as long as I'm not blowing smoke into somebody's face, I don't smoke incidentally. But it's or I drink too much probably. It's nobody's business in a free society but your own. And what I find disappointing as I watch, I was born in 1949, decade by decade, I've seen every small piece of basic freedom, which a man of my age would regard as a basic freedom, be taken away. And I also don't know, and excuse me grasshoppering about, every single clip on YouTube when there's some sort of Hurtiwood police inquiry has 3 policemen. There are always 3 policemen. So it means that they say, oh, well, we've got 30,000 policemen or 50,000 policemen. You now have to divide it by 3 because they all go about together. None of them have shaved. None of them know what they're doing. None of them know how to put a uniform on. None of them know how to press their bloody trousers. Jesus Christ, how did we get here? How did we get to this? And I blame the Conservative government because they've been in power just as long as anybody else. And of course, the problem is fake conservatives. Fake conservatives. You want to get into politics, you pretend you're a conservative, but you're not really, you're a socialist. The Conservative body is actually full of them, and they get safe seats, like the Muppet near me at Malton. You know, he's not
Who's that?
conservative. Can't remember his name. I should do, but I
that
can't.
says it all. That says it all, doesn't it? Godfrey Bloom. Yeah. Oh my goodness, absolutely. The decline of Western civilization. It is a concern. I really recommend people subscribe to Godfrey Bloom Official on YouTube. There's so much more of this from Godfrey, and it's been such a pleasure to have you on Outspoken today.
Thank you again, Dan, for inviting me. Most enjoyable.
And I'd love to have you back soon. Thank you so much, Godfrey Bloom. Brilliant guy.
As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research-based, and I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So, surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.